And now, a word from our sponsors.
So now we're going to talk about whether pressure groups are elitist or pluralist and how democratic they actually are. So if we start on the more positive side, pressure groups are pluralist because they disperse power. There are numerous groups that actually exert political influence. They represent interests of many sections of society, and they're able to balance the power of centralized government. But on the other hand, they're also elitist because they concentrate power within every pressure group. They concentrate power within the hands of a few individuals. A lot of these individuals, you could say, are unaccountable to their position, so the pressure group may act in a way that is not what its members would wish. And it's often actually wealthier pressure groups that can gain the most attention or be the most effective in their goals of exercising influence. An example of that is, for instance, the Countryside Alliance. And because of that, you could also argue that there's disproportionate power given to each pressure group. It's not based on the amount of members that they have, but really more on how much social media attention they get, or how many resources they have. And you could also argue that insider groups specifically actually lead to the more concentration of power within government and within parliament. But if we move on to whether pressure groups are democratic or not, pressure groups prevent the ignorance of certain issues and certain sections of society, and so they prevent the stagnation of politics. They help disperse power. They educate the public, arguably better than political parties do. They aid the government process by informing politicians. They cause, you could say, a certain friction to government. They enhance political participation for many citizens. So ways in which they're not democratic are that often they have unaccountable and unelected leaders. They undermine elected officials, so that is arguably undemocratic. They're self-interested, so they can only really represent their own interests, and they don't actually represent the best interest of society. You could argue that the information that they give to the people and to the government is biased because of their self-interest. Some people argue that pressure groups are actually too powerful, and this leads to something known as hyperpluralism. Their acts of civil disobedience are breaking the law, so that's undemocratic. They lack legitimacy and accountability. They have an unjustified influence, often in regards to how much support they actually have, and their leadership may not be representative of their views.
And now, a word from our sponsors.